Hello, I'm Dr. Alveda King, Director of African American Outreach with Priest for Life, coming to you from our studios. I wanted to share a very special message with you today in February of 2014. Of course, if you're seeing it a year from now or a month from now, it doesn't matter. But at this time of this recording, we're going to begin Black History Month. Now, you may say, well, Alveda, Black History Month? Well, isn't all history relevant and important? And absolutely, all history is important. As a matter of fact, I don't think we need to have a specified month of Black history. But right now, the reason that we're still doing that is because African Americans have been left out of the history books for so long that we're just trying to level that playing field. I can remember when I was a student in elementary school, middle school, high school, and college, there was always a challenge when we would read the history books. And for instance, I would know that what was written in those books was not necessarily true about Native Americans, African Americans, and I would begin to be upset. And when it was time to take the examinations, I would write in the correct answer as to who invented what and who was where at that particular time in history. And I remember that one of my professors told me, by then I was in college, if you don't answer the questions as they are written and taught in the textbook, you will not pass my class. I said, I'd rather not pass your class than write something that's not true. And so, for instance, we'll hear about George Washington Carver or Booker T. Washington or Benjamin Banneker, and all of these men made great contributions as far as philosophy goes, as far as science goes. They were often very spiritual men, had a relationship with God and Jesus Christ, but you would just hear that Banneker created the compass, for instance, or the peanuts with George Washington Carver and things like that. But they were scientists, inventors, creators, and brilliant people. And so I just always say that many times a lot of the industrial tools that were designed for our country were designed by African Americans because they were doing most of the servitude, most of the work as servants. And so they came up with the inventions that would help to make the workload easier. And so, and for instance, there's one other instance, the White House was built by African American slave labor. And they were architects, they were designers, they were contractors, of course, but their masters often got the credit for things that they built and designed as well. And so when we talk about Black History Month, it's important to remember that African Americans, really, there were African American founding fathers of this nation. And of course, you don't hear that in that manner. But I think Time Magazine, during Martin Luther King Jr.'s lifetime, called him a founding father. And I said, well, he was not born when the nation was founded. Why would you call him a founding father? But the principles upon which he stood were those same principles. In God we trust, in God we must trust. So you say, well, Alveda, what does this have to do with the pro-life message? Well, we know now in the 21st century, the eugenicist movement is still in place, genocide, black genocide, with organizations like Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers having a goal of reducing the population in our nation by offering free contraceptives and easy access to abortions. In this particular century, at this time, Priests for Life, my own organization where I work, has been embroiled in a legal battle to say that we should be accepted from having the requirement of providing free birth control access and easy access to abortion to our own employees because we stand against abortion and carcinogenics as far as birth control are concerned, because those kinds of things, the chemicals and the surgical procedures and etc., are very deadly to the babies. Almost always babies die in that process, and mothers' bodies are harmed. And so here we are in a nation where African Americans have not always been regarded for our contributions, and yet there's a tremendous effort to lower our population. And so for Black History Month, I want to ask you to take a look at how African Americans really have helped to build America. And then I'd like for you to consider the question, why is there such an effort to eliminate or lower the population of African Americans in this nation? We rarely go over uh, 10, 12%, 13% of the population of America through the decades since this nation has been founded. And there's a concerted effort and a reason for that. It reminds me of Moses at his birth in the Bible, and the midwives have been ordered by Pharaoh. He says, the Egyptians said that the Israelites, the Hebrews, multiply. And if we don't do something, they're strong and they'll take over. So let's control their population. And they said to the midwives, when a boy baby's born, kill it. You see, and of course the midwives feared the Lord, and they did not do that. And so Israel's population continued to grow, and Pharaoh tried to do all types of things to oppress them. And then God raised Moses up with the voice of deliverance, let my people go. That happened with Martin Luther King Jr. In the 20th century. My uncle, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., my father, Reverend A.D. King, worked very closely with him during that time. And now in the 21st century, you see me, Dr. Alveda King, Director of African American Outreach at Priest for Life. And I know this was a little bit different. This message is a little different from what you may have expected as a Black History message, but I hope you are enjoying it. Also, I am a part of the National Black Pro-Life Coalition. We have a wonderful book, Life at All Cost. You can get it at the Priest for Life bookstore or somewhere out there in cyberspace. And I and many of my colleagues are talking about life and natural marriage in that book. So that would be another good place for you to find out some more African American facts. God bless you, Dr. Alveda King, Director of African American Outreach with Priest for Life.